Okay, morning guys. How we going? I'm a bit more awake now. I did an amazing Donna Presley review. She released a beautiful video concerning, of course, her first cousin Elvis. But there's a cute little story in there concerning Upstairs of Graceland and Anita Wood. Something to do with Priscilla. Go and watch it. Donna Presley official. I love how she speaks beautifully about being a Presley, how fortunate she feels to have grown up with the Presleys, how proud of the Presleys she can be. Some of them, yeah? So go and watch it, guys. It will touch your heart. Donna Presley, a beautiful soul, a proud Presley. So, guys, I started doing this last week. Unfortunately, the kids came home, so I had to chop it in half, and I only did about the first 10 minutes. I was gonna just do the second half, but because it's only a 22-minute video concerning Priscilla Presley, her son is being sued by Presley and Navarone. I thought it's only 20 minutes, rather than just do another one half of it. Let's do it from the start. Let's do it again. So obviously, everyone knows that Presley does talk to me, does phone me, and that we have very long chats. So I like Bridget, but I also feel that Bridget, is in the middle of a battle. Feels that her friend completely turned on her and betrayed her, and changed her mind about her friend Priscilla. Changed her mind about all these contracts. Bridget feels that she was there for Priscilla. Priscilla was in deep trouble. Deep trouble. Bridget and Priscilla have become very close friends. Family friends. So when Priscilla finds herself in hot water, Bridget feels that she can help a friend, even with family problems, family disputes concerning Lisa and Priscilla. Lisa was threatening to sue her own mother. Then later, eventually, there are big disputes concerning Priscilla and Riley. Priscilla tries to go against the amendments that Lisa had made, where Lisa Marie wanted to give everything to her kids. Of course she did. Priscilla tries to go against that, proclaiming fraud. It was all bullshit. Priscilla knew that Lisa wanted her off the trust. Nothing to do with the insurance policy. Now, I'm just a fan. Everything I say is just opinion sharing, a discussion on YouTube. Nothing I say is fact. So this is for entertainment purposes. Now, we know about the lawsuits. Bridget feels she's owed compensation because Priscilla had signed all these contracts, even giving Bridget power of attorney, and many other things. Yeah, she agreed to many things, even selling the name, image, and likeness, which, as it turns out, had been sold before in 2005. I have my opinions on that. So then eventually, Priscilla decides to countersue elder abuse, which is ridiculous, really, especially since we've just heard her be interviewed the other day saying she feels 25. Priscilla said it, guys. I feel 25. But she's claiming elder abuse, that she was ripped off and conned and tricked by Kevin Fialco and Bridget, who, from their point of view, just tried to help Priscilla, who was in alleged trouble. So now things have stepped up. There's been a 50 million lawsuit launched. Now there are some very, very serious accusations being made concerning many things. Of course, the most well-known thing that is all the papers around the world. This has trashed Priscilla's reputation, that she unplugged her own daughter so she could be the Queen of Graceland. Shocking. Many people say this is just too bizarre to be true. Anyone that believes this is an idiot or is a nutter or is stupid. Well, we don't know, do we? We don't know. We don't know the truth. If you look at the circumstances leading up to the point where the do not resuscitate kicks in, when we know that Lisa signed a document saying that she does want to be resuscitated. She did want her life to be saved. The document has been shown. So I won't say that it's not true. I'll say that it's allegations to be proven. Bridget has made it very clear. She can prove everything she said in her 152-page lawsuit. We did read the lawsuit with the help of Down the Rabbit Hole News. The YouTuber, she read it out, and she read out the exhibits and evidence. So we've got a good idea. I think we had to do that in 2 parts. Go and find it on my channel. So this is a new one. Bridget Cruz also feels that she tried to help Navarone, Priscilla's son. It does feel like Priscilla has a favourite, that Navarone was the favourite son. It feels that way because of all the wrongdoing that we've discussed many times of Priscilla towards her own daughter. In some ways, abandoning her own daughter. Favouring Navarone. Just an opinion, guys. Scientology is brought up, sending her off to summer camps. Priscilla putting herself first so she can go off, be a model, be an actress, make money, be with other men, travel. Many reasons why we feel Priscilla, who was there to protect her daughter, Lisa Marie, Elvis's daughter, didn't, even at the hands of Priscilla's boyfriend, Michael Edwards. He allegedly abused Lisa Marie when she was a child. Whilst Michael Edwards, was with Priscilla for 6 to 7 years. Priscilla would even leave poor Lisa Marie alone with him for weeks on end while she pursued her career, her ambitions. Priscilla seems to have put herself first. Now, of course, everything I've just said is an allegation, but he has admitted it in his book. He had sexual feelings towards Lisa when she was a minor. Alleged. We have to say that. Lisa Marie said it in the Howard Stern show, didn't she? She even put it in her own book. Lisa Marie put it in her book. This book seems to have been forgotten. Somehow we're going to need to try and discuss this book because we can't read it word for word because of copyright rules. But maybe we can go through small parts of it together and discuss it. I'd like to do some live streams concerning that. So let's go, guys. I want to do this in one program. Okay, it's going to be quite a while. I'm going to try not to interrupt too much so that we can get through this. I don't want the show to go on too long because I like to keep the shows within an hour. So welcome to Defending Elvis. We do have the right to defend Elvis. We've had a serious problem with trolls and fake Elvis channels on YouTube and fake Elvis fans trying to shut us down, trying to mute us, trying to take away our freedom of speech. These people have even been lying to YouTube to try and shut us down. And we will fight you off. We will stop you. You won't mute us. You won't stop us running a channel called Defending Elvis. We have the right as a team and Elvis fans around the world who want to defend Elvis. We have the right to defend Elvis, and we will vigorously. We will challenge everyone, including family members and Memphis Mafia. Anyone has betrayed Elvis or Lisa, we will be straight there defending, whether you like it or not. And anyone lying, committing fraud or perjury will be reported to the authorities and to YouTube. My advice to the haters, stay away, back off, crawl back into your holes and do your own thing. Stay in your own lane. Leave us alone to defend Elvis as he deserves, because Elvis does deserve better. So does Lisa. So does Riley. So does Finley and Harper. We defend the bloodline. The good bloodline. The bloodline that has never trashed Elvis. Lately, we've been defending beautiful Donna Presley. She's amazing. She is a genuine first cousin. We love her. She's amazing. And she supports what we do. And even Ginger Alden has reached out, supports what we do. And actually, even Mindy Miller supports that we defend Elvis. I've been thanked by many family members for defending Elvis. I've been told by many people Elvis will be proud that we defend him. Here goes, guys.
Priscilla Presley's son is being dragged into her legal fight with two former business partners. Navarone Garcia has just been sued for allegedly not paying for the work they allegedly did for him, and they claim he messed up their deals with Priscilla. There are more allegations that we need to break down right now.
So that's interesting. He messed up their deals with Priscilla. I wonder how that is. I don't even know why this is.
Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
So please, guys, do subscribe to this channel. Sidebar, Law and Crime with Jesse Weber. Please, it's a fantastic channel. It's an amazing channel. I highly recommend it.
Okay, so we have been covering this constantly developing legal battle surrounding Priscilla Presley, who's being sued by two former business associates. And now, those same people have just sued her son, Navarone Garcia. Now,
So I think this is pretty recent. I don't know the date, but this is in the last few weeks, definitely.
Before we even get into that, I have to give you the backstory about what we're talking here. So Brigitte Cruz, Kevin Fialco, the plaintiffs here, the people suing, they are apparent entrepreneurs in the Elvis memorabilia world, and they...
So just, I have to put it out there, I do have long discussions with Bridget. Kevin Fialco is her business partner.
They claim that they helped Priscilla Presley, again, Elvis's ex, manage and profit from her name, her image, her likeness. It's called NIL, but they claim they were ultimately duped, that they were deceived and cut out of future business opportunities because of Priscilla. They accuse her of fraud, they accuse her of breach of contract, intentional interference, conversion, and they are seeking over $50 million in damages.
I'll be honest with you guys, the research I've done, obviously I've gone through all the exhibits and the evidence now, is I do think that Priscilla just changed her mind on all of it. She literally just, I don't want to do this anymore. So I lean towards Bridget.
Now, the heart of the lawsuit is that Priscilla allegedly misrepresented her rights to use the Presley name and brand, and she allegedly told them that she owned, all of the rights to her name, image, and likeness, when in fact they claim she had already given those rights up, sold those rights.
So we know in 2005, Priscilla sold this off. Elvis Presley Enterprises, 85%. They even rented Gracelands to Elvis Presley Enterprises. They paid the rent in advance for, I think, 99 years or 90 years. And Priscilla allegedly got a massive backhander when that deal went through. I'm worried that Priscilla convinced Lisa Marie to do this deal, because I don't think this ever should have happened, especially at 85%. It should have at best been 51% in favor of Lisa Marie.
As a result, they argue, they invested significant time and money based on false pretenses. And in an amended lawsuit, and we cover this a lot here already on Sidebar, they refer to Priscilla as a calculated sociopath, a master of deception, a pit viper. The suit alleges that she has this long alleged pattern of exploiting those closest to her for gain.
I'm going to have to agree with all of that. Sorry, Priscilla, but you've done some serious wrongdoing through your life, especially to Elvis, especially to Lisa.
Elvis, her daughter Lisa Marie.
And even to Riley.
There's a big mention of her granddaughter, Riley Keough. And I'm going to elaborate on that for a second, because Cruz and Fialco claim, for example, that during Priscilla's 1973 divorce from Elvis, Priscilla had waived all rights to inherit anything from his estate. Now, apparently, she initially...
This is true, guys. This is true. After the first divorce, she waived all rights of everything.
Received cash payments, car support, but then they allege that she manipulated Elvis into getting more money. Later...
She went back for a second divorce settlement. I heard she accused Elvis of fraud, and then it was reopened so that she could go back for a second divorce settlement. In the first divorce settlement, she promised she would never go back.
Giving her millions, millions and millions. Lawsuit says Priscilla's thirst for power and money was insatiable. The complaint alleges that she put a $494,000 lien on Graceland just months before Elvis's death, and they...
Shocking months before his death.
Claim Quote, she exerted undue pressure on Elvis, pushing him to his death. Yeah.
Well, you know, there's strong feelings about this, but come on, guys. In the last year of Elvis's life, which was very tough, he was very sick, having lots of problems. We know about the book Elvis, What Happened with the Memphis Mafia. His own friends were betraying him and trashing him, telling lies about him, in my opinion. So could you imagine him fearing losing his home? Elvis absolutely adored living at Gracelands. Obviously, he bought that home for his parents, Gladys. Could you imagine Vernon and Elvis while Priscilla is basically on the attack with her lawyers, placing a debt on Gracelands? Horrifying, horrifying.
Ah, that's the allegation. Oh, and by the way, when it comes to Lisa Marie Presley, the lawsuit, I mean, this is pretty strong too. They say she played a role in her own daughter's death. That Lisa.
This is the scary bit, yeah, guys. There's lots of Elvis channels now. You know, I'm not going to name them, that are saying, God, anyone that believes this is stupid. But you don't know, guys. You don't know. Let the lawsuit play out. Let's see what the evidence is. If it goes to trial, we will start to see what's going to happen. Obviously, they may settle, of course, before it goes to trial and judgment, all that kind of stuff. Let's just see what happens. I know it's shocking. I'm not saying that it happened, but Bridget is saying she can prove it.
Lisa Marie, in her final days, it claims that at the 2023 Golden Globes, Lisa had confided in Priscilla about serious health concerns. They claim that Priscilla basically ignored those. And within days, Lisa Marie was dead. The allegation being that Priscilla pulled the plug on her own daughter. The suit accuses Priscilla of making a power grab at the hospital, controlling the narrative around her daughter's death, allegedly saying afterward, I'm the queen, I'm in charge of Graceland.
I believe it. I believe it. Shocking, but I believe it.
Now, when it comes to the business disputes with respect to Cruz and Fialco, they allege that Priscilla defrauded them in business by falsely claiming that the NIL rights she no longer owned, that she had said one thing, did another, that she allegedly withdrew money from a shared business account without permission, that she failed to disclose that she was making deals regarding her name, image, and likeness, that she didn't tell Cruz and Fialco. They mention NBC's Christmas at Graceland, that she signed unauthorized contracts, we're talking breach of contract, and they allege that her actions caused substantial financial damage, and they are now demanding compensatory and punitive damages. Now we got to
serious stuff, guys.
talk about this new lawsuit, right, against her son. So they have just sued Navarone Garcia. And
so this was a bit out of the blue. You know, I remember being notified about this, thinking, what? Yeah. So let's just see what it says.
here is what it says. I'm going to read it verbatim. Quote, after Priscilla Presley approached plaintiffs Cruz and Fialco to invest in her to save her from financial ruin, plaintiffs Cruz and Fialco created various entities to be used to grow Presley's brand. Plaintiffs Cruz and Fialco invested 7 figures into this endeavor for Presley's benefit, handling numerous tasks for Presley, including by resolving various threats of litigation, resolving pending litigation, and negotiating various deals for Presley, which defendant Garcia, again her son, was well aware of. Additionally, plaintiffs were tasked with taking care of numerous issues for defendant Garcia. Specifically, plaintiffs spent countless hours negotiating a settlement for defendant Garcia, where he was ultimately paid a 7-figure amount from the estate of his late half-sister, Lisa Marie Presley.
Is this true, guys? If anyone knows any information, let me know.
Further, plaintiffs spent extensive hours overseeing various business issues for defendant Garcia's band, Them Guns. To date, even though defendant Garcia was enriched by plaintiff's services, defendant Garcia has failed to compensate plaintiffs for the value of their services.
I think we understand that. They basically, when they were helping Priscilla, they were also, on behalf of Priscilla, helping Navarone. Yeah?
Further, on information and belief, defendant Garcia convinced Presley to cut off communication with plaintiffs Cruz and Fialco and has consistently interfered with the businesses created to exploit Presley's name, image, and likeness. Okay, so now before I get into what they are suing him for, I want to bring back on, here on Sidebar, Law and Crimes General Counsel, our lawyer, Elizabeth Vulai. Elizabeth, so good to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Okay, let's see what a lawyer thinks.
Thank you for having me on again.
Why do this now? Why sue him? Why sue him now after they've already filed this amended complaint against Priscilla?
Yeah.
So I've got an opinion. With lawsuits, guys, I've always said this, even though there's a lot of personal feeling here, there's a lot of emotion, there is friendships, it's a money thing. It's a money thing. It's two people telling each other stories and attacking each other, really, yeah? Shooting bombs to each other. And the ultimate goal will be a settlement. Now, obviously, sometimes people demand apologies as well. It's not straightforward. But the thing that will stop this will be money. Money, yeah? But this is very upsetting. When you're in a lawsuit, guys, you can't sleep. It wrecks your life. My guess is that Priscilla and Bridget are both going through hell with these lawsuits, and Navarone now is part of that. He will be, once he realizes the seriousness of this, he will be going through hell as well. Lawsuits are a complete nightmare.
So I think there are two reasons. So some of the things that they're alleging in this complaint against her son, Navarone Garcia, is that they performed certain tasks for him, resolving business disputes with his band. They even say that they helped negotiate a settlement between him and his half-sister, Lisa Marie, when she passed away, involving the estate. So one of the things that they're claiming is they were never paid for that work. And as you mentioned, that they're alleging that he interfered with the contractual obligations Priscilla had by basically telling Priscilla, you shouldn't do business with these people. That's what they're alleging. And then therefore,
so they must be able to prove this, but keep going.
Or sort of interfering with her contract. So I think they are suing him to try to pursue these claims, and they're saying they weren't paid, that they should be compensated. And then also, I think what they might be trying to do is sort of keep adding sort of further threads into their overall theme of the lawsuit against Priscilla Presley. I think that's why you also see references to the issues that, she had with Elvis in the 1970s, issues with her daughter. It's sort of adding to this. I always say in a complaint, there's the actual claims, but then the themes. What are the themes that the plaintiff's attorneys are trying to get at with the complaint? And I think that's one of the themes, is that, what they're trying to portray Priscilla Presley as is somebody who, gets out of contracts, that has advantageous relationships, that maybe doesn't honor her obligations, and kind of looping in her son here, I think sort of helps to further add to that in their eyes.
Well said. I don't think I need to add to that. Yeah. Fully agree.
I got to say something. With my job, I'm pretty much exhausted all the time.
Right, hang on a minute. Let's get through the advert. Sorry, mate, but I don't want to. Let's just get on with what's happening. Right, here goes, guys.
And they're throwing. It's making the headlines every day. It's like, first it's what happened with allegedly with Lisa Marie, then Elvis, now your son. Is that a goal here, to put more pressure on her?
I'm sure it could be, because, I think it's one thing to file a litigation against her. She's the one that had the business relationships with these plaintiffs. And the plaintiffs are claiming, well, we also did work for your son. So it's a little bit tough there. But I think that's definitely a tactic of saying, we're not only filing.
I mean, they did work for him. No, they did. They were carrying out work for Navarone, 100%. But I understand she's going to go on to say now it's a tactic, but come on, lawsuits is all about tactic, isn't it? A bluffing game.
This litigation against you, we're now looping in your family.
And it's interesting that they're doing this here, because as far as I can see, it's a separate lawsuit. It's not like they added him as a defendant. Why is the goal to join all these cases together into one massive trial?
It could possibly be. I think it's a little bit tough to do that, because there are separate claims that they're making between her and between her son. It's similar claims, right? Because what they're alleging against Priscilla Presley is that we did all this work for you, we weren't compensated. But it's tough because they're saying that Navarone, her son, interfered with the relationships that Priscilla had with these plaintiffs. So it's sort of the overall themes are obviously similar, but it's separate actions. So I think it might be tough to join it later on. But I think you were right when you were getting at the pressure to settle. And what we also saw in the amended complaint that they filed against Priscilla was bringing in letters allegedly written by her granddaughter to Priscilla, and kind of like really involving a lot of members of her family in it.
I had the opportunity to interview Cruz and Fialco's lawyer on a previous sidebar. You can
So, guys, just so you know, that show where he interviews Bridget Cruz's lawyer, a brilliant show. Brilliant show. Go and watch it, guys. Excellent show. I may review it again because it was so good.
Go check it out. And I asked basically, you know, where's the evidence of all this with respect to Lisa Marie and Elvis? And, you know, it is the initial stages of this litigation. He seemed to suggest that there are people who will step forward to corroborate these accounts. This was a very bare bones set of allegations against Mr. Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
So Bridget basically saying she's got evidence to support everything she's saying.
Did they need to include more? I still didn't get a sense of what exactly that relationship was like, what the services they provided, what his understanding. How do they know, for example, that he interfered with his mom's business dealings? I mean, they didn't present text messages. They're saying upon information and belief, right, as the litigation moves forward. But how? That's a serious allegation to make.
So I haven't seen this lawsuit, you know, the Navarone lawsuit. We've seen the amended, updated lawsuit between Bridget and Priscilla, but this lawsuit I've not seen it, so I'm sure at some point it will be sent to me and I'll go through it.
It is, and you're right, the complaint was pretty brief. There was only 3 causes of action. They can always, of course, amend it and add more information. That's what they did with the lawsuit against Priscilla. You know, in a complaint, it's the plaintiff sort of had to have that advantage in that they don't necessarily have to provide evidence of every single cause of action. You know, that's what the rest of the litigation is for. And judges always say, you know, you have to abide by sort of the 4 corners of the complaint, but it was very bare bones. You're correct. And the issue, one of the claims that they make is interference with contractual relations. So how can they prove? One of the things they have to prove is that he knew about all of these contracts that Priscilla Presley had with these plaintiffs. He intended to interfere. And where's the proof in it? Is it just phone calls? But obviously, you know, we always say the more written proof, the better. Emails, texts, things like that. So maybe they might have it later.
I want to go.
I mean, the Bridget I know, you know, obviously me and her talk quite a lot. She's got a lot of evidence, a lot of proof. Yeah, she doesn't say things without backing it up. That's one thing I've learned about Bridget. If she's going to say something, she will back it up.
Go through those causes of action. Before I do, though, the fact that they have sued him now, do you think this is also a fight in the public? The more it gets media attention, the
Definitely.
more now they're accusing her son and Priscilla. Is that a tactic too? Again, maybe it goes back to the idea of trying to settle.
Of course it is.
Settle this, but is that a tactic too?
Right, it could be. And that's one of the things that was in the amended complaint was they had mentioned Elvis and, you know, they're insinuating she put so much pressure on Elvis that partially even contributed to his death. That I was really surprised to hear about because that was, you know, almost 50 years ago. And what does that really have to do with this claim right now? But I think adding in those details about Elvis, about Lisa Marie, and now involving her son, I think it's putting more pressure. And then it also doesn't paint a flattering light. You know, whether the allegations are true or not, we don't know. But I think it's putting the pressure on in the public eye. And I'm sure anyone in her position would want to correct the narrative if they feel that that's incorrect.
Come on, guys. Priscilla is under attack. Yeah, I'm being respectful because obviously, me and Bridget get on fine. But if I was Priscilla and this was all happening, even if I was in the wrong, I do think Priscilla changed her mind. Just my opinion. And these bombs were being fired at me in the press, in the tabloid, the social media, on the international news. It's everywhere, isn't it? Her reputation has been completely smashed apart. And now they're even attacking her son, Navarone, from the point of view of a lawsuit. Honestly, if I was Priscilla, I would be either fuming or running scared or ready to fight. You get it? This is a massive assault coming towards Priscilla. This is a very public fight. This is, yeah. So it all could be pushing for settlement, couldn't it? So this is a big deal. Priscilla's never had to face this. She did get quite a backlash after the book, From Here to the Great Unknown. I think that's why she's bringing out her book, Softly As I Leave You. She did get a bit of a backlash when she went against her own daughter's wishes in the trying to say that, because obviously Lisa wanted everything given to her children, and Priscilla jumped in and tried to block that. And then eventually there was a settlement reached with Riley Q, Lisa's daughter. So people started to think, oh, Priscilla's greedy, wants power, wants money, Queen of Graceland. So no, I would say this is World War III for Priscilla. That's what I would say.
Which is also, funnily enough, we received news that she's going to be coming out with a memoir. And in the excerpt that was shared today, she had talked about when Lisa Marie Presley was admitted to the hospital. So it's almost sort of seeing, I mean, there's lots of reasons why people put out memoirs, but, you know, possible wanting to correct the narrative, maybe. I think that's...
Definitely. Come on, guys. 100% it was to correct the narrative. This book, From Here to the Great Unknown, did not do any favors for Priscilla, and Priscilla, there's no way she supports this book. She does not support this book. I'm telling you guys, that's my opinion. She likes to act as if that book never happened. She tries to belittle Lisa Marie's as a rebellious, reckless adolescent teenager. That's how she talks about poor Lisa.
It's definitely a part of it.
And just for our audience to be clear, in a civil lawsuit, couldn't they call Priscilla and Navarone as witnesses and grill them about all this?
Correct. Yeah. So in a criminal trial, you know, you have the right to, even if the charges are being filed against you, to not testify. Civil trial, you can't really get out of that. So if it does end up going that further and it doesn't get dismissed or go through summary judgment, they could absolutely do that.
I want to go through some of the causes of action here in Garcia's count. So the first one is called common count goods and services rendered. And basically the allegation from Cruz and Fialco is that Garcia owed them money for services that they performed for him, that he requested, negotiating a complex settlement related to Lisa Marie, the estate, managing the business affairs for his band, and they claim they did the work as he wanted, but they haven't been paid, they haven't been compensated for the reasonable value of their services. This is an interesting cause of action. It's kind of...
I mean, do you know what? It's quite straightforward, isn't it? They're sort of saying, right, we helped you, you owe us some money. Yeah? So he could end this by just giving them some money, couldn't he? Could he do that? If they will have a figure in mind, Bridget will have a figure in mind, you know, you owe me $500,000, whatever it is. He could literally give them that and this would end that lawsuit, I think. Yeah? This is much simpler than the other lawsuits with Bridget and Priscilla, the elder abuse, all that stuff. Yeah? Just thinking out loud, guys.
General, right? I mean, what exactly are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's really phrased in sort of an interesting way. I've seen that a lot in New York, but really the way that it's phrased in New York is basically unpaid wages, that you did all this work, you weren't compensated for it. I really wonder, you know, if they had any sort of contract with her son. I'm guessing probably not, because they probably would have included breach of contract in the actions so far.
So it's an oral contract, like an understanding?
It might be an oral contract. It might be sort of an informal relationship of, oh, we're doing all this work for your mother, you know, we can help you out. And they claim we resolve business disputes with his band, that they...
You know, my memory is that he was mentioned. He was in those contracts when they were reading, when we read them out, and I think even the question was asked by the lawyer when they were signing the contracts. The word Navarone was questioned, wasn't it? Priscilla did double check that Navarone would be looked after, so they've got evidence that they were helping Navarone. They really do.
They even negotiated a settlement with the estate of Lisa Marie for him, which I was really surprised by. So it's phrased a little bit interestingly, but I think it might be because they might not have had a formal working relationship.
Couldn't he just come back and say, you were doing work for my mom. If she said, hey, take care of something for my son, why am I on the hook for this?
Right, yeah. Right? And also Priscilla Presley, they're saying that they had over, 20 written agreements with her. So we don't know what was in those agreements yet. It could be, maybe that they had an obligation to perform certain duties for her son and they would be compensated in a different way for that. Or, that was one of the thoughts I had, because when I read the complaint, I'm like, oh, they didn't include breach of contract yet. I wonder why. So I think that might be why.
They didn't. What they also included was his alleged, like you said, interference with Priscilla's contract. So there's the second claim is intentional interference with contractual relations. And Cruz and Fialco, they allege that Garcia intentionally interfered with their contractual relationship with his mom, Priscilla Presley, who they say was bound by these agreements to fulfill certain obligations. And they claim that Garcia knew about these agreements, allegedly persuaded Priscilla to break these agreements, to break ties with them, and this caused breach of those obligations. And as a result, they claim they suffered financial harm.
Whew. It's a bit of a long shot. I do think it's a bit of a long shot. Another way of muddying the waters, another way of applying pressure, another way of getting to Priscilla to try and maybe jog her into a settlement.
That Priscilla continued to profit from her name, image, and likeness without paying them. They allege that Garcia acted willfully, maliciously. They are seeking punitive damages. We'll talk a little bit more about damages. But first of all, how are they going to suggest that? How are they going to prove that?
I mean, the maliciously seems pretty extreme, guys.
Text messages, getting him on the stand. How can they say he's the cause for breaking up the relationship? And by the way, if he had a good reason, he's like, I don't trust these two. Isn't that a defense?
Right. So.
Yeah. Navarone obviously being protective of it, of course, of his mum. Yeah. Even Riley. Yeah. He's going to take his mum's side. Of course he is. Why wouldn't he? So, yeah, he has a point.
The first part is how can they prove that? And then one of the things that they have to prove is that, again, he knew about all of these contractual obligations and he intended to interfere with them.
Well, I doubt he knew about all the contractual obligations. Doubt it. He sort of leaves things to mum, leave things to Priscilla.
So that's always tough to prove. Obviously the more written proof you have, text message, emails, documents, communications possibly between Priscilla and her son where he's saying, you've got to try to get out of these deals. It's tough though, because
I can see that. I can see Navarone saying to Priscilla, what have you done? You need to get out of these deals. I can definitely see that 100%.
We don't know how much knowledge does her son have about, the extent of his mother's business dealings. Did he know that they had written agreements in place or not? So I think that's going to be a big burden. Obviously.
I doubt it.
Getting him to testify to that is going to be hard because he's probably going to say the opposite. So I think written communication and documents are going to be really, really key here. And yeah, certainly. I mean, I think that's one of the defenses that could come up is even if he were to say, I wanted her to get out of this, but there's a very good reason why. And, I think that also stems from the lawsuit that Priscilla filed because this all sort of started when she filed a lawsuit last year against the plaintiffs, basically saying the same thing that, she alleged that they committed fraud, that they sort of coerced her into signing all of these dealings.
She basically says they got that she got ripped off, completely conned and tricked and lied to. You name it, Priscilla said it. Yeah, but come on, Priscilla's a very smart lady. She changed her mind, guys. I don't care what anyone says. She changed her mind.
She wanted to get out of it, so I think that could add to it.
And the third claim against him is intentional interference with prospective economic relations. So they allege that Garcia intentionally interfered with their prospective economic relationship with his mom, Priscilla Presley, that it was likely to benefit them financially, that he knew about this relationship, allegedly caused his mom to cut ties with them, and it disrupted this relationship. It harmed.
Well, that's a tough one, isn't it, guys? Did Navarone cause Priscilla to pull out and change her mind, back out of all of these contracts? I don't know. That's quite a tall order. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Put it in the comments. My gut feeling would be that he's sticking up for his mum. He probably did feel that his mum had got into something that she shouldn't have. His mum had made big mistakes going along with the contracts. So I can see as a son, he's trying to help her get out of it and advise her to get out of it. I can see that. Ultimately, she changed her mind, guys.
Their economic interests. And they claim Garcia, again, acted deliberately and maliciously. So very similar to the last claim, right?
Well, he's, deliberately, maliciously. Well, yeah, because he's trying to help his mum. But if his mum's in the wrong, if his mum has breached agreements, if his mum has just blatantly changed her mind about contracts signed, then the mum is in the wrong. Because the bottom line is contracts were drawn up. Everyone agreed. There was lawyers. Priscilla happily agreed to sign the contract. So there's even witnesses there. She demanded it be filmed. So she changed her mind, guys. That's I will always think that.
Very similar, right? So the first part of it is that they're alleging like they weren't compensated for all these acts that they had included, and then the last two claims are sort of very overlapping.
I believe that. I believe that Bridget did thousands of hours of work, obviously very smart, came up with lots of ideas to help them both make money. It was a win-win situation with Priscilla and Bridget, Bridget felt she was helping the family behind the scenes. Lots of negotiations going on. So I believe it. I believe it, guys.
Lapping in that they're getting at the overall theme of him allegedly interfering and intentionally interfering with the obligations that his mother had, with these.
Come on, he's helping his mum. So that is interfering, but you're going to interfere when you're helping your mum, aren't you?
What they're saying is over 20 written agreements that she had with them, and then also the various LLCs that they had set up for her.
And they say he acted willfully, maliciously, oppressively, and despicably. I mean, really going after him here. Okay.
Bloody hell. Yeah, I mean, they are quite extreme words. I think he was being a son. I think he was looking out for his mum, but what Navarone forgets is his mum was in the wrong because she stitched up these people and went and changed her mind about all these contracts and agreements. LLCs were set up and stuff like that. So he's got to side with his mum, hasn't he? He's got no choice. Don't forget, she has always been a gravy train for him, hasn't she? Come on, the amount of money that Priscilla allegedly has given her son Navarone is probably in the millions.
Let's talk about what they could potentially recover. There's economic and non-economic damages. So there's exemplary and punitive damages. There are reasonable attorney's fees pursuant to California law, costs and expenses of the suit, prejudgment interest at the maximum legal rate, and other and further relief as the court may deem just and proper. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so there's the aspect of monetary damages, right? So all the things that they say they're entitled to in terms of financial compensation. So
I wonder if Bridget has a figure that she feels she's owed, for the work she's put into helping Navarone.
Paid wages, damages, compensatory damages and financial damages are awarded sort of as a deterrent. So, alleged defendants who are found liable for wrongdoing are deterred from doing this again. So that's where all the damages that are intended to compensate them for the harm that they say or loss that they say they incurred, and sort of almost like punitive damages as well of the court, again, trying to deter defendants from acting this way. But then you also have what's called injunctive relief. So it's basically, if the court were to find that it's proper to provide injunctive relief, meaning, stopping defendants from committing certain actions again, maybe barring the two parties from having business deals with each other, barring them from even speaking with one another, any sort of relief that's non-monetary. I don't know what that would be because you don't really see injunctive relief in these kinds of cases. But, we'll have to wait and see.
What do you think?
That bit just didn't even need to be spoke about, I don't think. But come on, guys, the lawyers win. The lawyers win. This is going to cost an absolute fortune. Yeah, this is why the sooner you settle, the better. Of course, compensation, legal fees. Come on, this is mega money, hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
Think's going to happen next? What it may likely happen next?
So I definitely think that Priscilla Presley and her legal team, her attorney has spoken out about this and called it despicable and just, because there's a lot of really heavy, intense allegations in the amended complaint specifically where they loop in all the family members.
Sure is.
The Presley family. So I think she's definitely going to move forward either with a motion to dismiss likely. And if that doesn't go through, probably a motion for summary judgment. And
explain that that's just a way to try to get the case thrown out.
Sure, right. So a motion to dismiss is a defendant is able to file that pretty much out of the gate, just trying to get the case tossed as opposed to filing an answer and moving further in litigation. Later on, once discovery happens, so once the parties exchange documents, once people have been deposed, then the parties have a chance to file a motion for summary judgment. judgment. And what that's basically saying is the case should be thrown out because, you know, all this evidence is presented. We don't need to go to trial.
There's nothing for a jury to decide.
Right,
Like, even if you take everything as true, there's no claim here.
Right. And I think she's going to probably pursue that, one, to obviously try to get rid of the case, but then two, you know, this isn't something that probably she or any members of the Presley family want to play out in public. They don't want videotape depositions, more evidence coming out, you know, anything, evidence either way, right? So I think a lot of people in the public eye that are sued want to be able to have this resolved without going to trial, obviously to save costs and things like that, but also the publicity aspect of it as well.
Yeah. All right.
Well, this is doing serious damage to Priscilla's reputation. I personally think Priscilla's reputation is ruined. I think, yes, she'll have her very loyal people that just believe everything that Priscilla says. They literally think she is Elvis Presley. Honestly, guys, the Priscilla fans that have been brainwashed by this book, that think that Priscilla can do no wrong, that she's an innocent victim of everything since the 1960s. It's just unbelievable just how blinkered the Priscilla fans can be. You know, guys, we know that Priscilla through the decades has done some, I think, pretty cruel things. Yeah, unbelievable things. Yeah, but she is seen in the general public as the savior of Elvis, to the savior of Gracelands, the one who opened the museum, the one that Elvis is only remembered because of her. It's all bullshit. None of that is true. None of that is true. It's a long story, guys. Let me just let them say their goodbyes, and then very, very interesting. Please subscribe to Law and Crime and Cyber. Jesse Weber, great. I think she's a lawyer. Very, very interesting. Thank you. I think this particular lawsuit with Navarone will be quite easily settled. But now the one with Bridget Cruz and Priscilla, well, there's more than one, isn't there? Yeah. That's going to be a bit of a fight. I do agree that Priscilla will do everything she can to get it just thrown out. We don't know how this is going to unfold. It could go on, or it could come to an abrupt end and they settle. Yeah. So fascinating. Fascinating. I know that the Elvis fans have very strong feelings about Navarone because he has allegedly said things about Lisa that he should never have said. The Elvis fans feel that Navarone is the favourite of Priscilla, that Priscilla has been a terrible mother. Priscilla, obviously, when Lisa was growing up, the Elvis fans feel that Priscilla was very irresponsible as a parent, didn't protect Lisa. I repeat, did not protect Lisa. How do you feel? Put it in the comments, guys. Do you feel Priscilla protected Lisa? I don't. All the research I've done, I'm horrified by just how bad a parent what Priscilla was. She really did put herself first, always. Even when you go back through the unfaithfulness, because Priscilla was unfaithful, guys, more than once. Even the divorce, the way that she attacks Elvis on the second divorce is just heartbreaking. The way that Priscilla claims all credit for anything good concerning Elvis is just bullshit. Even this weird thing where she says Elvis is the love of her life, it's just ridiculous. If anyone knows anything about Priscilla's private life and different boyfriends and relationships, there's no way that Elvis was the love of her life. Why Priscilla feels that she should be buried next to Elvis is just crazy. They divorced 4 years before he died, and then she went on and had a very full life with many other men. So all this being buried next to Elvis makes no sense. I'd get it if she was asking to be buried next to her daughter and her grandson, but next to Elvis makes no sense. Even when the recent interview when she says, oh, the worst thing that ever happened to me was losing Elvis. Obviously, when Elvis died. Losing Lisa is the worst thing that ever happened to Priscilla. Come on, it's her daughter. She lost Elvis 4 years after they divorced. Come on, let's get real. I'll never understand what Priscilla says. Now, everything I say is for entertainment purposes. Now we are called Defending Elvis, yeah. So I am very protective over Elvis and Lisa and Riley Finley Harper, yeah, and Gladys and Vernon and Benjamin, yeah. So of course I lean towards Bridget because Bridget is exposing wrongdoings of Priscilla. I don't like the way Priscilla has treated Elvis and the bloodline. I don't hate her. I'm not a hateful person. But she's done some serious wrongdoing. I want to expose it, as respectfully as I can. Elvis, I always feel that I have to look to Elvis and get his approval for what we do here on our channel. And I want to try my best to respectfully defend Lisa Marie. Yeah. I would rather Bridget won this. I'm on Bridget's side when it concerns these lawsuits. But I also understand that the fans are concerned about some of the things that Bridget did with Priscilla before they fell out. So I have to remember that as a Defending Elvis channel. I have to remember that Bridget was involved in negotiations concerning Riley and Lisa, etc. But I still don't think Bridget is the bad person here. I don't think Bridget is the bad guy here. Priscilla is. Yeah. If anyone said to me, right, who should we support? I would always say we should be supporting Bridget because she's trying to expose the wrongdoing. She's more of a defender of Elvis than Priscilla. So I lean towards Bridget. I actually quite like Bridget as well. Quite like her. I do think she's a genuine, good-hearted family woman. Yeah. Very smart, self-made, very wealthy. Yeah. But, this is going to cost her an absolute fortune. She doesn't know how this is going to turn out. I know it's very upsetting for her. I know she's going through hell. I know it. She's made that very clear to me. This has been very heartbreaking for her and for her family because she actually did love Priscilla and was very close to the family, Priscilla's family. She really did feel that she reached out to help Priscilla. This is what upsets her the most. She feels that she just wanted to help. She definitely feels that she's owed a massive apology. Bridget wants a public apology. She has said this to me. More than money, she wants a public apology for how she has been treated, her and Kevin Fialco, for the thousands of hours of work, for the hundreds of thousands of pounds, if not millions, of investment to try and create this brand, this Priscilla brand, name, image, likeness brand. She really feels that she was trying to dig Priscilla out of a very deep hole that Priscilla had dug for herself. Priscilla was in a lot of trouble. So
see what happens next. I know you've been following it. As soon as we talked that we were going to cover this, I can't tell if it was our team or you were like, I want to talk about this, but I'm so happy to have you on.
It's interesting. My mom is a very big Elvis fan, so we grew up listening to his music and everything.
Oh, that's good to know.
So I'm excited to be here.
I know. It is disturbing to see these allegations and see what's happening, but it's another big civil case that is making its way in the media, and we're so happy to have Elizabeth on. And
thank you so much.
Okay. Brilliant. Elizabeth. And she's an Elvis fan. So, wow, look at that. 7.2 million subscribers. Now, that's what you call a big channel. I'm sure this has had hundreds of thousands of views. A great show. Please subscribe to Law Crime Network. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Really, really great. A great show. I'm going to just type on it. Great show. Great show, and thank you, and thank you. Of course, I'm subscribed and like them, and just brilliant. Okay, guys, I hope you found this as interesting as I did. I thought it was great. Thanks, guys. I think I'm going to come back and do a Presley Mania review after this, if I can get the time to do it. Love you guys. Thank you, Team Elvis, Elvis defenders around the world. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of Team Elvis. You're very appreciated. Thanks, guys. See you soon.